temple? Oh.
Dreaming of India by Nami-chan.
Hello, India. I'm Nami from Japan. Konnichiwa, Nami desu. And if I reach 50,000 subscribers, I will travel to India for the second time. And today, I'm going to watch 12 Strange Things You Only See in India by Bright Side. I chose this video because it just sounds like a fun and entertaining video, so I hope I can learn something new and fun about India. Also, I will teach you a Japanese vocabulary at the end of the video, so please stick around till the end. So without further ado, let's check out the video.
So here's a fun riddle for you. Where in the world are wedding rings worn on the toes and people serve bowls instead of waves? No, it's not New Jersey, folks. It's India. And it's a place full of odd customs and curiosities you probably didn't know about. And guess what? Today's your lucky day. I'm going to tell you about it. For example, there's, in descending order, number 12, the quirks of Indian English. Now, India is one of the largest English-speaking countries in the world, second only to the U.S. But in a country with around 880 spoken languages, only 22 of which are even officially recognized, it's no wonder Indian English may sometimes tickle your ear in a strange way. For instance, if a person starts talking to you with a weird yar sound, don't worry, that's just the Indian way to say, "Hey dude!" Indians would probably ask your name with the phrase, "What's your good name?" And no, that doesn't mean you have some kind of a bad name that you somehow earned. It's just a way of being polite. And when an Indian person finally starts addressing you by your first name, they may add G to the end to show how much they respect you.
Like
my dear Brightsider G. 11. Beautifully adorned toes. In India, when two loving hearts decide to marry each other, the groom must put a wedding ring on his bride's toe. Yup, that's the custom. These wedding rings are called bichya, and every bride wears them on both her second toes as a sign of her newly married state. There are other kinds of toe rings in India too. Some men wear them on their big toes in a belief that it'll boost their strength and vigor. Indians are famous for their love of gold, but toe rings are mostly made of silver because it's inappropriate to wear gold below the waist. Number 10. Unbreakable promises. Most people in India believe that a spoken word has immense power within it. And if you break a promise, you'll enrage spirits and deities. The most powerful promise is the promise of a mother. So if an Indian person swears by this, then you better believe them if you don't want to come off as really rude. Number 9. The birthplace of plastic surgery. Among India's most sacred texts, there's one that baffles surgeons and medical experts to this day. It's called the Sushruta Samhita, and it's a fundamental part of the Indian practice of Ayurveda. It was written by the ancient Indian surgeon Sushruta somewhere between 1000 BCE and 500 BCE. The text describes tons of unbelievably complex surgical procedures. But the most fascinating thing is that it proves that India is probably the birthplace of all plastic surgery. Even for his time, Sushruta was totally capable of doing nose jobs, or rhinoplasties if you want to be technical, and earlobe reconstructions. Not exactly what would make movie stars seem forever young, but still impressive. Speaking of movies, number 8. Twice the Hollywood.
Twice the
India's
Hollywood.
Bollywood is the largest film industry in the world. No, not Hollywood. Bollywood produces about 1,200 films every year. That's twice the amount that Hollywood puts out. And if you want to start an acting career in India, you better learn how to sing and dance, since most of the movies produced there are musicals. This passion for musicals stems from a deep appreciation for Indian traditional dance and folklore. Also, it's no secret that Bollywood was inspired by Hollywood works from the 1920s to 1950s, many of which were musicals. Bollywood got its B from Bombay, the city where most Indian films are produced, which of course changed its name to Mumbai in 1995. Yeah, they should keep the B. Mollywood just, isn't the same. Number 7. Holy rats! I know, it sounds absurd, so let me explain. According to an ancient Indian legend, the mighty and worshipped warrior sage Karni Mata tragically lost her stepson Laxman when he accidentally fell in a pond and drowned. Karni Mata was in such grief that she begged the gods to save him. Well, they did, but on one condition. All of her male children would be reincarnated as rats. Ah, those wacky gods. What a unique sense of humor, huh? So that's why the temple devoted to Karni Mata in Deshnok is known as Rat Temple.
Rat Temple?
Here you are, going through a huge hall, completely covered in rats. But people here are happy to come and share their food with these sacred, long-tailed rodents.
Rats are tiny.
Hey, might be a relative. It's a particular honor to come across and feed the rare white rats in the temple.
Actually.
They're believed to be the true reincarnation of Karni Mata and her sons.
Oh.
Number 6.
Wow,
Bull surfing.
That is
Whoa,
amazing.
gnarly, dude. If you ever go to the village of Anandapalli after harvest season, then you might be able to watch some bull surfing. How do you surf a bull? Very carefully, I'd guess. You see, first off, they make a track on a flooded field that becomes pretty much a big muddy swamp. Then teams, yeah, it's a competitive sport, compete to stay on a board being pulled through the water by 2 bulls. These jockeys train for this event, and the bulls are groomed and cleaned with their horns being polished nice and shiny.
Handsome.
Doesn't last very long. Can you see yourself hanging 10 on a board driven by 2 really big mammals in your hands?
That
And
sounds
that's
scary.
no bull. Wait, yes it is. Turf's up, dude. Number 5. Who to thank for your clean hair? Did you know the word shampoo has Indian roots?
I do know.
Well, that comes as no surprise since shampooing itself originates in India. The original word shampoo means massage and was initially used to describe the process of hair strengthening with herbs common in India. But India has
learned
good
this in
reason
another
to pay
video.
so much attention to their locks. The country sells over $20 billion worth of hair in a single month. Such amounts are second only to China. But even this
China.
hair-selling giant mixes its product with Indian hair for better quality.
Yeah. Indians have
Number
beautiful
4.
hair.
Serious
Beautiful long
wildlife
hair.
conservation. India gets a lot of criticism for its pollution problem, which there's no denying that it's a serious one. But that doesn't say anything about Indian people's attitude towards wildlife. There are 104 national parks in India, with over 15,000 square miles of overall coverage. Some of the rarest animals on Earth inhabit these parks, like the bizarre-looking purple frog,
Wow,
the smallest
that's
pig in the world, the pygmy hog, and the largest living bat, the Indian flying fox. These endangered
flying
species are
fox.
in severe need of protection, and India has proven itself very capable of wildlife conservation. Just take the country's national symbol as an example. In 2010, there were only between 1,700 and 1,900 Bengal tigers left in the world, but those numbers are now up to around 2,200. The Bengal tiger is still considered endangered, even though it's the biggest tiger species in terms of numbers. So you can imagine how grave the situation is for its cousins elsewhere. Number 3. Towers of Silence. India is not
sounds
only home to rare
mysterious.
wildlife species, but some uncommon ideologies too. One of them is Zoroastrianism. Zoroastrians believe fire and earth to be sacred fundamental elements, so it's very bad for them to bury or cremate their departed. The solution they came up with was to build towers of silence for the deceased. Also known as dakma, these towers have no roof so that nature can step in and do the work as an
Do
undertaker.
it naturally.
The only towers of silence still functional to this day are in India. But let's move on to a place that's very much alive and definitely not silent.
That's unique.
Number
I'll
2,
do it naturally.
packed like sardines in trains. India has the 4th largest railway system in the world, with almost 42,000 miles of track overall. But if you want to keep a pleasant impression of this country in your heart, then you might want to avoid trains at all costs. Or if you're just curious to see people hang off the sides and ride on the roof of the train, then India is the place to go. Local commuter trains in India are unbelievably overcrowded most of the time, so even trying to get in one is pretty much impossible. And don't even bother trying to get a seat. You'd be wasting your time. But still, these crazy packed trains have sort of become a tourist attraction in and of themselves.
Yeah, this is
But
famous
still,
in Japan.
I'd take Uber or something for short distances if I were you. Number 1. Pageants for true beauties. Hey, what's more beautiful than a huge Indian elephant?
For
Can't think of
elephants.
anything? That's a tough one. Well, the only real answer is the most beautiful Indian elephant, of course. There's a contest dubbed as such that happens each year on the full moon between February and March, and this pageant is a key part of Jaipur's famous Indian festival. Nowhere else in the world are these gorgeous giants celebrated like they are here. People get down to work preparing for the festival by cleaning the elephants and decorating them with an array of stunning embellishments and clothes.
Wow,
They even
in front of
paint
the
colorful designs on them. Then everybody votes for the most beautiful and gracious elephant at the festival.
So people
It's really nice to
choose
know that these kind and
number
helpful
one
creatures
elephant.
can get so much respect and love. Boy, you could see that one coming now, couldn't you? Hey, what's the
painting,
most
though,
amusing
so
fact about
beautiful.
India that you know? Add your own points to the list in the comments down below. And don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, share it with your friends, and
Thumbs
click
up.
subscribe to always stay on the bright side of life.
I did learn some interesting and new facts about India. And yeah, I did know some of the information, like the shampoo and the train stuff with people. So yeah, my question is, do you guys ride the train? Because when I traveled to India, I went on a sleeping train, but I did not see any train that was stuffed with that much people. So yeah, maybe I wasn't lucky enough to see those crowded trains. Tell me about it. If you ride it daily, if you have never ever been into a crowded train before, because crowded train is something that happens in Japan too, like especially in Tokyo. For Japanese people, you need to get into the train, so the staffs push you, and that is not pleasant at all. So I think we do have some things in common, the crowded trains and stuff. But yeah, there were some amazing facts like the rat temple, which is really shocking. Yeah, but those rats, they look like squirrel, and I think the kind of rats in India and in Japan is different. They don't look like the rats we see in Japan. They're smaller and they look cuter. Well, they mentioned about how Indians use English and how they said it's unique, but I think that's goes for a lot of Asian countries. Japan too. Japan is also included when we talk about how Japanese English is unique. We make English words into this, we pronounce it in a Japanese way, and we put it into a writing form called katakana. So it's pretty different from the original English pronunciation. For example, iPad. I'm using an iPad right here, and it's in English it would be iPad, but in Japanese we would say iPad. So it's kind of different. You can kind of guess what we're saying, but it is pretty different. And if there's a lot of those in one sentence, I think foreigners would probably be like, what are you guys saying? So I think there's uniqueness in every country where we're not native speakers. Well, when native speakers talk about how English is used in other non-native countries, like it can be kind of like not pleasant. It kind of feels like, to me, it feels like we're being made fun of just because how we use English. I know Indian people, a lot of you guys are fluent in English, but especially for Japanese, like English is not our favorite subject and people kind of suck at it. But it's sad when native speakers like point that part out because we're trying to learn English. And yeah, what I want to say in short is that people can use English however they want and however it's easy for them. No judging in how people use English in other countries. Japanese time! Today's Japanese phrase is how are you, which is genki. So the direct translation would be, are you doing good? So it's typically asking, how are you? Are you doing good? I use this phrase a lot when I meet my friends, when I meet my colleagues, when I meet my family. So this is like a phrase that I start a casual conversation, like when I'm seated at a cafe and I go genki. So yeah, that's a phrase that we can use in daily conversation. So let's start practicing. Repeat after me. Get ki. Get. A little bit faster this time. Get ki. Get. Okay, so I hope you learned something new and I hope you practice it with your Indian friends who are learning Japanese, or if you have a Japanese friend. And one last time, if I reach 50,000 subscribers, I will travel to India for the second time. So please subscribe to support me and also leave a like. And don't forget to leave a comment. ありがとう! またね!
Dreaming of India by Nami-chan.